Hi, welcome to DC Vigilante. So, this is in response to not only what Zack Snyder said at his show, at the Director's Edition show, and what he didn't say, but it's also into response to this guy here that I'll leave a link up here and at the end of the video. And it's a response to what he was saying, right? Because as soon as I watched that, I went live and I had to rant about what he said. But so let's first of all talk about what did Zack not say. Well, in all the questions and answers, I was a wee bit disappointed that in all the video footage that I've seen, we weren't all chanting release the Snyder Cut. There was like one guy that shouted, you know, release the Snyder Cut. And he kind of laughed and he didn't say. I would have preferred that Zack Snyder would come out and actually talk about that straight away. Because it's all about him, you know, it's hail the Snyder Cut, hail this and that. So you would think he might have even brought the subject up, but he didn't. Right, he just went, right, and I would have been trying to push it, you know, because we've all supported him and everything else. And there were kind of two YouTubers there that I spotted, that Film Junkie and what's his name, Flick Picks or something like that. He does. So the two of them were all buddies and all took you know, pictures with them and stuff. So, and then I looked at Film Gub's video and I noticed that one of the tweets or something, somebody spoke, it's meant to have spoke to Zack Snyder, and he mentioned about the Snyder Cut and says, does it exist? And of course in this tweet, or whatever it was, Vero or whatever, Zack's response was, it does exist, but it's up to Warner Brothers whether or not to release it. But right now they're under a lot of pressure concerning it. So basically the fans are pressuring Warner Brothers into doing something with the Snyder Cut. Right? But again, this is us taking somebody's word that that's what he said. This wasn't actually a quote, this was still Zack Snyder being quiet in front of most of his fans, probably because he knew it was all getting filmed and everything else. There was one guy on the panel and he was trying to shush things or something, I don't know. He was sitting at the far end of the panel and I don't know, I think he wanted to be more involved. And I says, alright, we best not keep this to yourselves and whatnot. So I don't know who he was, if he was some sort of an insurance guy for Warner Brothers, and making sure nothing was said untowards. Nose is acting up. So I was a bit disappointed, but you know, because people were there with the Zack Snyder t-shirts, and they were, you know, I love Zack Snyder, plus the t-shirts he was doing, so they were all there for him. And he never sort of acknowledged or thanked the people that were there. And if he did do that on a personal note, if he was going over to individuals and thanking them for whatever they've done for him in the past, then it was all kept quiet. You know, it was on a one-on-one, so he wasn't doing it publicly. So that was the only really kick in the butt I can think of. So on to the next thing. So with this guy coming out, and he had heard Zack Snyder mention about this guy, this young boy, asking him about, you know, why did you make Batman kill? And then Zack Snyder, not maybe the correct line of phrase, it was basically, you know, was telling him, you know, this is the real world, you know, of course Batman and everybody else is going to start killing people, and what sort of So this guy, so I think the way he came across might have thought, I mean, it was okay to say it when you're in a room full of fans or people that adore Zack that got the joke, but there were some people in there that must have been journalists that somehow reported it or put it on YouTube, and then all these fake people, not fake, some sort of, well, fake journalists got on and slammed the bandwagon. So this guy, this comic artiste, he was saying, oh, you know, how wrong he was, and he used to work for DC, and that wasn't mine, I didn't like, you know, it was too dark. And the one thing I've noticed about these people, right, and geeks and gamers as well, is they all love Star Wars, or they all, and now I love, the only Star Wars I love is anything that George Lucas has done, right? These films came in, yeah, it's no Star Wars for me. And I'm big on, I was huge on Star Wars, but I could separate the two different kinds of movies. Star Wars was set for family audiences, where something like superheroes, which we did have family films long ago, this is Batman we're talking about. This is, you know, this is something that is a bit different from Marvel. This is something a wee bit more real, a wee bit closer, but these guys don't get it. They want everything like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's all tongue-in-cheek and jokes and everything else with no depth. So I'm basically wanting depth. Now, here is an example for you, okay? And the people that didn't like Man of Steel and I had to watch it like 6 times to convince them to like it or not. You look at, and I was going to originally call this Batman versus Shazam versus Superman. I'm thinking no, and I was going to make it into 2 different videos, but I thought, nah, listen, hardly anyone's going to watch this, so I might as well all talk about it in the one video. So you've got Man of Steel, and he's came down to Earth, and he doesn't know if he can be accepted and everything else, and if the world will accept him, because he's basically the power of a god. And then he's suddenly, in the minute, you know, his dad's telling him to keep it hidden, keep it secret, otherwise you'll be experimented on, you'll be taken away from those that love you and everything else, and don't trust anyone. Humans can, you know, people can be bad, especially if they find out that you've got a gaff and everything. So he just doesn't trust, he can't be himself, he doesn't know who his dad or mum was until he was a wee bit older as a boy. Then he finds out that he's actually an alien and everything else. So being a man, he suddenly realises, you know, he wants to trace where he came from, find out facts and everything else. Then he's thrust upon an intergalactic fight. Also with Earth people shooting at him because this is an alien, he's a god, they brought these people down to Earth. But somehow, some people don't get that, and they want everybody just to love this superpowered being that's an alien from outer space. They all want him to totally love him because he's wearing a red and blue pair of pajamas, right? No, that is outdated, and people can consider that stupid, right? So now we take Shazam, right? We have Shazam, who is a boy who is still to be you know, he can be still immature. Right? He's been reading about Superman or Batman, so he's actually excited, but he doesn't probably understand the consequences and what's involved. It's like anybody, you know, when you ask a young kid what do they want to be when they grow up, they'll say a policeman, or I want to be this, and if you talk to Maui young ones and whatnot, what was it like being dead and dead? They've got no concept of what life is all about, so everything's all a joke to them. Right? Everything's serious, and they can go on wee temper tantrums and everything else. Well, you know what young kids are like. Especially at 13, 14 years old or whatever age Billy Batson's meant to be. So, of course, when you put him in a super suit, you're going to have this big. Right? And there's been many occasions in comics where he gets told off for being immature and everything else. People ask, why is Superman so serious? Because Superman knows the consequences, right? Shazam may be a young, you know, guy that's a young boy in a big man's suit, but he sometimes has to be told off, right? He needs to be told off sometimes because he can act immaturish, right? Immature. So, but do we want that in Superman? Of course we don't want that in Superman. Well, you know, and do you want an all serious Superman? No, we can lie, but that's what Man of Steel was all about, was him slowly becoming Superman. Him embracing himself and the identity and his place in the world. Where young kids, they don't give a shit. So of course you couldn't make the two films the same. And we wouldn't want Superman to act like Shazam. No way. But then again, then we look at Justice League. And we just about got that, didn't we? We just about got a Superman / Shazam. Where Superman, and this is what some people really wanted, was it? This is how they wanted Superman to be, when this guy goes about and at the very start he's talking about losing car keys or home keys or whatever keys he has, and then when he goes and attacks Steppenwolf, he's punching him to the ground with a big cheesy smile on the face and delivering corny lines, I believe in justice and everything else, and then it was just there were so many things in that just didn't scream the more powerful, confident guy that we saw that was in BVS. You say confident? He was saving people, was doing it best. And in BVS you saw the risks of him being a superhero. You saw him, all the politics that was involved. Even though he wants to do the right thing, the government still, you know, came down on him saying, no, you shouldn't be doing this and everything else, and he's trying to. So these are real life situations. But when what we got in Justice League, with the big cheesy smile and the just, oh, you's not finished this yet, and oh, you still fighting and whatnot. I went, no. Superman has got to at least have seen the threat to his friends, seen the threat to himself, instead of just being overconfident in that. You know, there's got to be a sense of danger, right? If Superman doesn't show a sense of danger, then it is like a Marvel film where there is no threat there whatsoever, because, hey, Captain America's here. Right, it's fine, he's going to save the day and whatnot, or whatever, or Iron Man or whatever. You need to at least have Superman question, okay, was that a right move? Shazam would be like Flash and just do it anyway, and then, you know, oops, you know, that was a big mistake. So so what's the point of that? It was just to give this guy the link at the end when he's questioning that isn't his Superman. No, his Superman is more than one-dimensional. His Superman is an adult, and as an adult we're still yet being kids, but we act differently. Do we want a cheesy Superman like we got in Justice League? No. Do we want a really serious sort of Superman that's still at his earlier stage that we've got in Man of Steel? No, but we want something in between. And for him to not recognise that it was a long story arc was ridiculous. And for him to come across as somebody that had not read comics, for him to come across as somebody that's supposed to have read all these comics, and everybody somehow believes that Batman wouldn't kill or anything else, didn't really understand what the film was going on about, or trying to tell two people at two different stages in their life mentally, because they were getting attacked mentally by an evil genius that knew who they were, knew their pattern upon their kryptonite, and lo and behold, what happens next? Well, Zack Snyder's plan was Zack Snyder's plan was for Lois to get killed, Superman to turn, you know, that way in the dream sequence, and that would have been excellent, because we would know it somewhere along the lines that they would have went back in time, changed the ultimate, you know, changed the direction, and have it end up good. And that is what you would call heroes sacrificing themselves. Forget about just Batman sacrificing themselves. They were hurt, they were injured, there was a sense of danger, sense of threat. That is what you get if Zack Snyder's film was left alone. It's something that didn't happen for a Marvel movie and probably until Infinity War. Now, that was only, I mean, I've not seen it, not planning to see it anytime soon, but I take it that's what happened in it, that some of the heroes actually were worried. Zack Snyder was about to do that in about 3 films. He done it in the second one. That is what you make a good character, and they would have, and for Batman and Superman to have gone through all of that story arc that Zack Snyder had planned, that would have been one hell of a great character development. And with Shazam coming out shortly after, that could have easily rebooted after Zack Snyder. So, check this idiot out. Let him know your feelings of and anything else. But that's what I took away from that show, is that the Zack Snyder cut, still not 100% sure it exists. He still stayed quiet. But if it does exist, if it really does exist, then it's still not going to be the film he originally intended. But at least it would be something close to more character development, more serious, darker tones. So, as Zack Snyder, or supposedly Zack Snyder says, let's keep the pressure on. Keep hashtagging release the Snyder Cut. That's my thoughts. Check this guy out. That's my truth.